A bat mitzvah celebration marks a young woman's emotional step away from her parents, leading inevitably to her actually leaving home as an adult. When that adult returns to visit her parents' home, the home she finds will not be the one she left, because both she and it will have been altered. It's the same kind of a thing that happens to Jacob in the Parsha this week as he returns to his home and his family after a 20-year absence, perhaps not realizing the degree to which both he and his brother Esau have changed. For Jacob, the new name of Israel, which he earns through his nighttime struggle with an unnamed assailant, represents the new person he has become. In order to understand the changes within him, it might be instructive to compare who he was when he first had his vision of God on his way out of Canaan and the vision he has now on his way back in. As a young man, Jacob tricked his father Isaac and his brother Esau in order to elevate himself into the position of firstborn son. Fleeing Esau and Canaan, he dreamt of angels going up and down a ladder from the heavens to the earth. And he promised God, conditionally, to enter into a covenant. Now in middle age, many similar events are taking place, but in a very different set of circumstances. Jacob is moving in the opposite direction, from exile back home. He had left alone and penniless. He returns with a large family and a great deal of property. Instead of stealing from his brother as he had before, he now sends Esau gifts. Praying now, Jacob does not speak in terms of if-then. He simply pleads to God for safety. In sum, the Jacob that left is not the Israel that has returned. What has changed is not only a name, but a man. And the substance of those changes is Jacob's maturation. His nighttime struggle just before meeting Esau and the name change that accompanies it symbolize his years away from home, when he grew into the man that he now is. We note as well that earning that name was a struggle, and that struggle was not without a price. Jacob's hip is injured in it, not enough to cause a limp, perhaps, but just enough for him to notice. Growing up can be painful, and we carry a bit of that pain with us as we age. Not enough to truly wound us, but enough to remind us of the costs of our own failures. To put the matter simply, Jacob has learned humility. A real difference between a teenager, perhaps a bat mitzvah, and a middle-aged person is that we accept in later life that we are not the most important person in the world, that others have dreams, desires, and destinies that intersect with ours and which impact one another but are no less important for not being our own. Humility is the emotional scar of our sins and failures, but it is also the mark of our maturity. Even though achieving it can hurt, having achieved it, we are grateful for the people we become, for the new names that we earn. Humility reminds us of our limits, what the early rabbis would have called misameach b'chalkenu, being happy with our lot. Humility can teach us about the danger of hubris, of going out to sea in a storm. But dreams can also run aground on too early or too earnest humility. By trying to never step beyond the comforts of the usual, we risk our humility moldering into tedium. If the arrogance of youth must be tempered by life's pain, the humility of middle age should not be allowed to dull our ambitions. If Jacob had not suffered at the hands of Laban, his father-in-law, he would not have learned the value of fair play, which he sorely lacked as a young man. However, had he taken that lesson to its logical extreme, he might never have left Laban at all, preferring to show deference to his father-in-law for the rest of his life. All of this brings me back to the idea of a bat mitzvah and growing up. In finding a new name for themselves as adults, as Jacob did, and as our children do, we all learn the value of humility. Well internalized, humility should just take the edge off our most dangerous attributes, yet still permit us moments when we reach for something just beyond our grasp, knowing, or at least hoping, that there is yet more in store for us than the present holds. From all of us at Congregation Beth Judea, Shabbat Shalom.